Let's go through equal 957 principal cells after n days. We are giving 8 present cells in a row, and each cell is either occupied or vacant. So occupied, it uses 1. It uses integer cells 1 to represent occupied, and 0 represent vacant. And each day, whether the cell is occupied or vacant change according to the following rule. If a cell has two adjacent neighbors that are both occupied or both vacant, then the cell becomes occupied. Otherwise, it becomes vacant. So it asks after n days, what will be the cell state or return length 8 integer array. So let's look at the example, right? So let's see, initial state is this, and at 7 days, at day 7, it is the result of this, right? Because let's look at some of the data, right? Let's see, this one are surrounded by 0, so it is 1, and this 0 is surrounded by 1, right? So it is become 1, and this one on its left is 0, on its right is 1, so it will be 0, right? So on the index 0 and the index 7, they will always become 0 because there is no cells on its left or no cells on its right, right? Let's see, for this question, the n is a very big number. So if we iterate this kind of n, it will be out of time limit. But the thing is that we'll see there are only 8 cells. For 8 cells, 0, 1, 0, 1, right? It can only have at 2 to the power 8 states. That is 120, 250, 250, 2, right? It's a very small number. And actually, it's not changing 8 cells, right? We just need to consider the inner 6 cells. That is just 2 to the power 6 states. So the different state, that is very small, right? And then for the day 0, it may be a special case, that is 2 to the power 6 plus 1 state. So that is 25 6 state, right? So that means if we iterate this n, at most goes to the 26 days, it will find a state which we already seen, right? So that is the Java principle, or called pigeonhole principle. So instead of iterate the n, what I was thinking about is that we just use a map to store different state, right? So the state in the days, right? 2 integers. And we'll see there are 20, at most 25 entries for this map. So when we iterate until we find that the map contains this state again, right? That means we find a cycle. And we can use the index, right, when we try to iterate. Actually, we don't need using index. We just get the map size, and minus this state will be the cycle size, right? And so this will be the cycle length, and use n mod equal to this cycle length, right? And that means from this kind of date, how many days we should still iterate to get the next date, right? So from this state to the final state, there were also iterated n mod this cycle times, right? but we can use a list, right, to store the states. So we can just based on this index to find the state directly. So let's write code for this. We know if the state initial state has 0, right? So we do that in for int I equals 0, right? Smaller than 8, right? Plus plus. We'll say the state should all equal to cells I left should be like that. So we need a map integer. The key will be the state, and the value will be the date, right? New hash and we use another list so that after we re-enter the cycle, we don't iterate again, right? We just check the set from the list for S list. Then we can have date, right? Date equals 0. So what we do is while this map partner contains key state, right? So if that contains, then we'll have map put this state and the next list should add state. Then we're going to have a find the next, right? And the next equals to 0 for int I equals to 1, I smaller than 7, I plus plus. We'll have int left bit equals state right shift I minus 1 and 1. Int right bit equals state right shift I plus 1 and 1, right? So if they have the same, they are either both to be 0 or both to be 1, right? That means we use all, right? If the same XOR will be 0. Use XOR. Then we have next equals 1 factor to right? And after this followed, we have a state equals next in this by 1, right? After we jumping out of this while loop, we find the entry, the day repeat, right? So we'll have in the start date or start of the cycle, start index for semantic state. And so we know the cycle length, right? Cycle of the map.size minus start index. And we should use the things that n should minus equals the start index, then a mod equal to cycle, right? Don't forget to remove the first part, otherwise it will not, it may be have some issues. Then we'll get to the final state, right? Will be S list bit start index plus n. And then for this state, we convert back to the integer array, right? New int 8 for int I equals to 0 and smaller than 8 and plus plus, right? So the result equals state and one. And every time we have state should write shift equal to 1 and return result. Python code will be very similar. Let's write the Python code as well. We know state day 0, 0 for I in range 8 and have state all equal to cell I left I right. Then we are going to while state not in we need to have the map, right? Map for state day map, right? State day, state today, state day, okay, and the state list. This will be and this will be a list. And this one nothing is state day. We are going to have state day state equals state. Okay. And also we have state list should append state. And we have next state equals 0 for I in 1 to 7 range. So we'll have left bit, right bit equals bit right shift and minus 1 in 1 right. And the other one is plus 1. So we'll say if they are the same bits, right? Of it XOR R bit equals 0, right? Then we're going to have next bit the XOR should O 1 should put this one as 1, right? Then we'll have state equals next bit. This should add equal to 1. So let's get the cycle, right? And start index equals start state map with state. And cycle equals length state day minus start index. Okay. And so we have A should minus equals the start index, and also n should mod equal to cycle. So we'll forget the external state RP state list start index plus A. So after we get this state, right, we should compose this one to restart. Restart should be this one multiplied by 8 for I in range 8. Result I equals state in the 1, and we have state shift 1 bit, right? And return result. Data list. So doing like this, we'll see, doing like this while loop, it may at most iterate 65 times. So it so we'll say this is kind of like a constant, or 202 to the power 6 time complexity, right? So it is a kind of constant time complexity. And the space, right? The map, we at most we store 65 entries. So the same to the list, right? So that is a constant space complexity.